Baruch Hashem, Rashi to chapter 27, verse 6. Chapter 27, verse 6. So it says the Rashi, Hayomer Hashem al Moshe Lemor. God spoke to Moshe, saying, Cain beno Tzlafchad dovros. The daughters of Tzlafchad are speaking properly. Nason titen lahem achuzas nachla besoch achei avihem vavartas nachlas avihem lahem. He said, the daughters of Tzlafchad are speaking properly. Give to them an inheritance amongst the brothers of their father, and you shall pass the inheritance of their father to them. Remember, the daughters of Tzlafchad said, we want to inherit the land, and our father had no sons. And they went to Moshe, and Moshe brought their judgment to their law to God, and God says that they are correct. Cain beno Tzlafchad dovros. Rashi says, Cain kitar gumo yaut. What does the word Cain mean in Hebrew? So that's what it means in modern Hebrew. But here, the Targum says, Rashi is saying it means yaos. It means properly. So the word in biblical Hebrew usually means thus or so. It relates to a previous matter. And he says, so it is correct. In modern Hebrew, it means yes, Cain or lo. But in biblical Hebrew, it means it's relating to something previous, and it's saying it means it is proper. Komar, kach katuv parsha zo lefanai b'marom. This is the passage written before me on high. Wow. So God is saying that actually that's exactly the way I have it written up above me in the Torah in heaven. Magid shera'ata inon ma'shelo ra'ata eno shamoshe. Their own eyes saw something which Moses did not see. Their own eyes saw that which Moses did not see. Rashi says that they understood, or they literally means that they saw part of the Torah that Moshe didn't see. Moshe was the greatest prophet ever, yet these daughters of Tzlafchad, who were not even prophets, understood an aspect of the law that Moshe didn't understand. So this means that even though we're not, no other human being will ever be on the level of Moshe, it's possible that we can achieve, to a certain degree, even a higher level than Moshe in certain areas. What do you think about that, Elliot? It's an incredible opinion. By the way, are you hot? Should I make it colder in here? Are you good? Okay, so I mean, to me, it's a very powerful idea. The idea that the daughters of Tzlafchad are teaching Moshe something.
Yeah, in a sense, it's greater that they said it than Moshe said it. Moshe said it, you would assume it's just because he's the prophet and the greatest person, but it's something more impressive that they were able to say.
Well, it's more relatable for us that these women who are not prophets were able to say it. Yeah, I agree with that. Came in Tzlafchad dovros. So let's read the Rashi. Who wants to read it? Elliot, you want to read it? The next Rashi? Yafet Tavu. They claimed correctly. Fortunate is the person that God admits to his words. Meaning to say, can you imagine if God says, yes, you're speaking correctly? What a powerful idea. A powerful idea. Nason titain lahem. Surely you shall give to them. Keep going, Elliot. Shnei. Nason titain means that they get two portions.
then if I say, paper.
Okay, so the Gemara in Baba Basra tells us it's a little bit of a contradiction within Rashi, but let's just say what he's basically saying. That when the land of Israel was given out, it was given out by portions assigned to those who left Egypt. So Chefer left Egypt, and Tzlafchad left Egypt, and so therefore they got that double portion. But elsewhere, Rashi says that since there's another opinion above Basra, which says that it was divided by those who entered the land, and it was redivided by assigning them to their ancestors who left Egypt, slightly different. So here he follows the opinion that it was divided by those who left Egypt, which was Chefer and Tzlafchad. So anyway, that's what Rashi says. So that's why they're going to get this double portion. They got the portion of Tzlafchad, and they got a percentage of the portion of Chefer, splitting with their cousins who were fellow grandchildren. Okay, Vavarta, you shall cause the inheritance to pass over.
You, the need should be known when you're, then
Okay, this is a very, so the question is, what Rashi is saying, what does the word Vavarta mean? The word Vavarta means it's an expression of wrath. Like God says that you're going to get the Lashon Evrahu. Somebody who doesn't have a son to inherit he's feeling the wrath of God. God is angry at him. Alternatively, so why is it called Vavarta? Because the daughter causes a inheritance, avor, to pass from one tribe to another. Shebina, because her son and her husband inherit her. And so therefore, the inheritance will pass over from one tribe to another. If she marries into another tribe, then the husband from the other tribe will inherit her if she takes the land. If she inherited the land, then it will pass from one tribe to another. Because so Rashi's, I'm not sure if this was actually in Rashi, it's in brackets here, Baruch Atah, and the Torah is going to tell us that the daughters of Tzlafchad were not allowed to marry outside their tribe. So this idea that you're not allowed to marry out of your tribe, that was only for Tzlafchad, for the daughters of Tzlafchad's generation. But after that first generation, they were allowed to marry out. Go on.
Between the Kulan Vomer and Natat Pen,
right. So usually it says, by all inheritance, it says unitatem, as you shall give. But when it's the girl getting it, it says vavartem. And the reason is because the girl, vavartem means to pass over, and the girl, if she inherits, then it's at risk of being transferred out of that tribe. Okay, fine. Pasuk chet, val b'nei Yisrael tedaber lemor ish ki amutu benin lo, avartem and nachlato bito. We just read this pasuk in the Rashi. It says somebody will die and not have a son, and you shall pass the inheritance to his daughter. And if he has no daughter, unitatem et nachlato achav, shall give the inheritance to his brother. If he has no brother, who gets it? What? His father's brothers. His father's brother. Yes. What? Very good. Not his maternal uncles, only his paternal uncles. Let's say his father has no brothers. Let's say his father has no brothers. Who inherits? The next of kin. Which next of kin? You should give his inheritance to the relatives who are closest from his family. Give it to the closest relative. We'll see who that is. And it will be for Bnei Israel as an eternal law, just like God spoke to Moshe. So Moshe, you read that, verse 11, Pasuk Yud Aleph. Elements, or we have it set up. So it means only to his father's relatives. The mother's relatives never inherit. Only the father's relatives. So that's what the point is. Okay, so now we're up to the next. This is one of my favorite psukim in the whole Torah. Vayomer Hashem al Moshe. God says to Moshe. God says to Moshe, "Alei al Hara Avarim, go up on this mount of Avarim. Go and see the land from the mountaintop." Moshe was going to see the land from the mountaintop. You know what this pasuk is teaching us? The leader, everybody sees this as a punishment. Moshe doesn't get to go into the land. But no, he was being told by God, always take the view from the mountain, take the view from above. You can't take the view from the trees. When you're in the trees, you can't see the greatness of what you've accomplished. Go and see the land from the mountaintop, and you'll see the greatness of what you've accomplished. So he says, go up to the mountaintop and see it, this land that I gave to the children of Israel. Okay, Elia, you want to read it? Alei al Hara Avarim. Yeah. So why is this pasuk here next to the daughters of Tzlafchad? Since the Hashem just said, "Nason titein lam," you shall give it to them. So he says, well, God told me to hand out the land. Maybe the decree has been revoked, and I can enter into the land. Hold on. God said, Gezerati. Yeah, the decree still stands. The decree still stands. You don't get to defeat the decree. Let's see what Rashi says here. Pinchas. Hold on, we see Rashi, but let me just see. Sometimes I love this pasuk so much. Even though we're doing Rashi, I want to see if there's a commentary on this Rashi. We very rarely look at the commentaries on the Rashi, but let's see. Okay, not on this pasuk, but on the next pasuk. Okay, so go on. Pasuk Gimel v'ra'ita usa. Oh wait, go on. Davar acher. So where's Moshe now? He's in the portion of the territory that was given to the children of God, the children of Reuven. So once he got there, he was rejoicing, and he said, Kimdumali, it appears to me. He says, well, because technically speaking, Moshe is now in the land of that was given to his children, because Reuven, Gad, and half of Manasseh were in that land. So Moshe was in the land that they inherited. So he says, well, it seems to me that the decree has been annulled. The vow has been released. This is a parable. It's like if there's a king who makes a decree upon his son, isn't it? So he says, let's say a king makes a decree upon his son. He says this king will not be able to enter into his palace. He said, the king says, my son will not be able to enter into my palace. Nichnas l'shar, the king entered the gate, and the son came with him. L'chotzer, he goes into the courtyard. L'acharav, the son followed him with Traklin, comes into the foyer. He comes after him. Kavan Shabali Kanes Lakito, and once the king's about to enter into the bedroom, Amaro, the king says to him, Binay, Mikan Ve'el Chata Asori Kanes. From here on, you can't come in. So, since Moshe I got in, he thought now I can go all the way in. But God said you can't. Okay, so now we go to the next pasuk. Ra'iso sa, and you'll see the land, v'ne'asaftar amecha, and you'll gather up to your people. Damata kasher nasaf Aaron achicha. Also you, just like Aaron desired. Okay, look at this beautiful Rashi here. Moshe, please, this is such a beautiful Rashi. Just like Aaron was brought in, so too you'll be brought in. Right, so from here we see Moshe was desiring, Taiva is a desire. Moshe desired to die like Aaron. How did Aaron die? He died with a neshika, he died with a kiss of God. And we described it in Chukas. And so Moshe wanted to die just like that. He wanted to die in the same way. But about this, I do have a comment about this. So he says, so about this, the Ksav Sofer says like this. I think the Ksav Sofer is the son of the Chasam Sofer. He says, Mikanchin is Ava Moshe Misasa Shal Aaron. That's what Rashi says. So Ksav Sofer asks, why specifically to the death of Aaron? And what does it mean when it says, also you will be gathered up like your brother Aaron? HaHezber, the explanation is according to Chazal. What does it mean? Whoever leaves a son like him, it's as though he didn't die. Because the father has a portion in the good deeds of his offspring. So Aaron merited for this. Because Aaron's son was Elazar, was appointed the Kohen Gadol. Whereas Moshe's sons were idolaters. They did not fill his place. So therefore God says to him, you'll be gathered to your people. With your death, everybody, the whole people, the whole nation will be orphaned because they're all your children. And you'll be gathered up just like Aaron was gathered up. And he left behind a son like him, as though he didn't die. And so you also, because you left behind all these students, also you are not dying. That's what it means, also you. That's how the Ksav Sofer explains it. Very beautiful. Basically, it says in Rashi that Moshe desired a death like Aaron. And also it says, and you will be gathered up to your people, also you, just like Aaron died. So why does it say Moshe desired a death like Aaron? And why does it say also you will die like Aaron? So the Ksav Sofer explains like this. The Ksav Sofer says that it's like this. He says that if somebody leaves offspring who follow in his good ways, who follow his teachings, then it's as though he's still alive, because the person who died is like a partner with the one who's carrying on after him. So Aaron has offspring who were tzaddikim. They were following in his ways. They're following in his ways. So Moshe desired that also. Moshe desired to have offspring who would follow in his ways, but Moshe's offspring were sinners. They were idolaters. So God says to him, no. All of Am Yisrael, all of the Jewish people are your offspring because they're your students and they're following in your ways. You follow that? He says, why? Because it's in the Rashi. When Rashi says he desired a death similar. And so therefore God says, also you. Also you. Now you follow it? The Rashi? Yeah, no, this is an interpretation of the Rashi. It's not actually in the text of the Rashi. No, that's why I said it's a commentary on the Rashi. Okay. So then, so it's okay. Alternatively, who is Moshe? Please read on. Davar acher. Alternatively, you are not better than he. Meaning to say, you're going to die like Aaron. And this is not the first approach was God was like comforting him and saying that Moshe, you're going to get a death beautifully like Aaron died beautifully, you're going to die beautifully like that. But the second approach is saying, no, 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 no. Don't think you're any better than Aaron. You're going to die just like Aaron died because he sinned. So this is a rebuke of Moses. Hey, Aaron, go on. I'll share. Told me, you're no better than him. I'll share them because you did not sanctify me in this place at Meriva. Go on. But if you but if you had indeed sanctified me, you would still be alive. You wouldn't be dying. But because you did not sanctify me, you're going to be like Aaron and die. The kol makom shekasav misasam. It makes a point. So now Rashi goes on, and Rashi tells us the kol makom in every place where it writes about the death of Moshe and Aaron. Go on, kol makom shekasav misasam. It writes of their sins. Right here it says because you sinned by the waters of by midbar sin, it writes of their sin. So why does it need to do that? Well, here it says kashem aritem. Right. Well, that's in the next pasuk. Go on. Right. So why does it say every time it says that Moshe is going to die, it says about the sin that they committed? It has to say you died because you committed this sin. Why does it have to say that every single time? So Rashi goes on, because the generation of the wilderness were dying because they have the sin that they didn't believe in God, they didn't have faith in God. Go on. That's why Moshe specifically says, write what I did wrong, so you don't think that I did what they did wrong. You have to keep me separate from their sin. Shelo Yomru, don't say that he was part of the rebellious ones. It's a parable is like two women who were getting punished in the court. So one did adultery, severe penalty, and the other one ate the fruits of the sabbatical year, which are it's not a good thing, but most people would say it's not as bad as adultery, right? So the one who committed the sin of eating the fruits of the sabbatical year improperly said, okay, we're both getting the same punishment, but make sure you tell people what I did so they don't think I did what she did. That's why Moshe Rabbeinu, every time he did the sin, every time he says he's going to die, he says, okay, write why I'm dying. So people don't think I did the sin of the children of Israel. Because, you speculate, you meet somebody who's imprisoned, people are going to speculate why you're in prison, and you assume, human nature is to assume the worst. That's what we like to do about people. Afkan
says cares. Misas in his cares serve Ruchad on him.
To tell us that this was their only sin. This was their only sin. Beautiful. Okay, the next pasuk states. Hello, Rafi, how you doing?
Very good, Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. Okay.
Was Aaron's sin the golden calf?
Well, Aaron's sin was at where Moshe struck the rock. Right after that, God says that was Aaron's sin, but Aaron also sinned with the golden calf. He also sinned with the golden calf. Hold on, look at that. What?
Striking the wall, striking the wall.
But he was part of that. It's not clear exactly which is sin. It's also not 100% clear what exactly was Moshe's sin. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right, so now we say last pasuk. Kasher maritem pi b'midbar sin, because you rebelled against my word in the sin wilderness, b'merivat ha'edah, in the fight of the congregation, laktisheni b'mayim nehem. This was the sin of the water. You didn't sanctify me with the water. Haim meimi rivat kadesh midbar sin. These are the waters of strife in kadesh midbar sin. Rashi says here something which is difficult. But anyway, Rashi says, oh, whose turn is it? Elliot, you read the Rashi. These are the bitter water or the waters of strife of Kadesh. They alone are these waters. There's no other sin in them. Meaning to say, Moshe and Aaron only had this sin. But there's a lot of people who argue with that and say that Moshe had other sins. But this is what Rashi says. Davar acher. Right. The ones who rebelled at Mara, I mean, that's what led to the rebellion at the Yam Suf. Mean to say that there was multiple times where they sinned with water. They sinned with water by Mara right after they crossed the sea, and they sinned again at the sea, and now also the Midbar sin. So 3 times they sinned with the water, not just 1 time. That's what it's telling us. All right, we'll stop here. Baruch Hashem. Okay.